I just did another episode on Morgan Stanley missing expectations, JP Morgan missing. Check that one out too. At the end of the episode, I said I would do one about the rate increases. And what I told people to do was go back to May or June and listen to how they were talking about doing, 25 or 50 basis point raises. It's a cool thing about technology and YouTube and everything. You can go back and see what people were saying, 60 days ago. If you go do that, you're going to be scared out of your mind. Because I also said if you go back to March and April and you start listening to people, the economists and the Fed, like all listen to everyone, the quote unquote smartest guys in the room, right? If you listen to what they were saying in March and April and where we are now, they have no goddamn clue what's going on right now. Like it's scary. And you go back and we got this. It's like it's a time vault of we're screwed. Go check that out. And you look at in May and June and how they were talking about 25, 50, and 75 basis points. Like if you mentioned 75 basis points, you were an outlier, you were crazy. There's no way the Fed would do that. It would spook the market. Now, if you look back to June, right? It's, mid-July right now. When they did the 75 basis points, about 48 hours before, no one really thought they would do 75 basis points. Within a 48-hour period, we went from it's never going to happen to it's got to happen. How did that accelerate so fast? Because the Fed leaked something out like 2 or 3 days before that they might go 75. But when you listen to the analysts and the economists and the bankers and the professors, the PhDs, you listen to all these people, there's no way they were going to do it. And then all of a sudden, not only did it become acceptable, but it had to happen. And it's like, wow, that is how fast things are deteriorating right now. And it's proven when you go back and listen to what people really thought of the economy 60 days ago, for example. Now, same thing's happening right now. 100 basis points, no way, spooked the market, too crazy, would tank this, tank that, put us into a recession. All of a sudden yesterday, it seems like the conversation of 100 basis points is now on the table. Doesn't mean they're going to do it, but we went from completely crazy outlier to we might have to do this because the June inflation came in so hot. Now, I could have swore I saw a bunch of people on TV saying that it looks like inflation peaked and it looks like inflation peaked, and it's like, well, diesel's still $5.95 around here. So I know Brent crude's going down, but as long as that diesel stays up, and that's how all our stuff gets moved around this country, and you're watching the wage inflation and the worker shortage wreak havoc on company profits and output and productivity, we're probably in for a longer term pain here. But they said they had signs that inflation peaked, and it's like, but the numbers coming out for June really reflect that time when all the energy prices were going crazy. So I don't know what the hell they were smoking. It sounds like some high quality premium stuff, and I don't know. So sounds like a lawnmower / helicopter outside right now. Cool. And now I'm just looking at, we went from we see a cooling to now we got to do 100. And the point is, you see more and more people saying, look, we're not going to get down to that 2 or 3% inflation for a long time. So there's no way we're going to get out of this thing with these small raises. Like maybe it's not 1980 again or whenever when they just hit you with those big rate increases, but we went from no way doing 75 to doing 75 in a snap of a finger. No way we're going to do 100. Now 100's on the table. This is all happening within 60 days. Hell, 45 days, 30 days. Go listen to what they were predicting back in May. This is the bottom of the stocks. It's going to be this. It's going to be that. No recession until Q2 or Q3 of 2023. They're saying we're probably in a technical recession now. There's still people on TV saying no recession until 2023, even though the first half of the year looks like quite a bit of contraction with massive rate hikes, what I'm starting to believe that everyone on the news is working together to push a narrative. And I'm going to go downstairs, get some like tinfoil, make a hat, and like, what was that movie with Will Smith? With like Gene Hackman or something, Enemy of the State. They're pushing you to get like that way because you hear all these people kind of in unison talk about this at the bottom of the stocks and no recession for another 12, 18 months. And you look around and say, it seems like everything you're saying is not true. It seems like everything you said in March and April is not true. Everything you said in May is not true. What you said in June is not true. And there's a handful of people out there, and it seems to be more and more every day, that's kind of catching on. Like, wait a minute. Things don't really seem to be what everyone's saying on TV. And I think that's where we're at right now. So if they hit you with that 100 basis points, if the 75 wasn't a wake-up call, let's hope the 100 is. And you can step back and see that layoffs are going up. You see people starting to miss their earnings. There's so much bad stuff going on. How did you think that this was the bottom? Because some analyst on TV said so? Man, we got to wake up.